There are moments in life when everything seems still, almost too still. You pray, you imagine, you believe, and yet nothing seems to move. But in truth, it is in those quiet moments that the greatest movements are happening behind the veil. The unseen hand of God is arranging every thread, every encounter, every circumstance, so that at the appointed hour everything unfolds in perfect order. You may think things are falling apart, but they are not. They are falling into place. The divine plan never rushes and never delays. What looks like waiting is simply the universe preparing the stage for your next scene. Your only task is to remain faithful to the end, for the end is already written in your favor. The desire within you is not random. It was placed there by the very source of creation. That longing you feel is the whisper of God saying, "This is the path. This is what I wish to express through you." When you hold that desire with faith, when you nurture it in the silence of your imagination, you are cooperating with the divine will. Do not be deceived by appearances. The world of form is only a shadow of belief. Everything you see now is the echo of what you have once accepted as true. If you want to see change, change the inner conversation. See the end in your mind's eye. Feel the joy of fulfillment now, and life will rearrange itself to mirror that inner knowing. Yes, there will be tests. Life will seem to contradict your faith. Doors may close, people may leave, opportunities may vanish. But these are not signs of defeat, they are signs of transition. God removes what no longer serves your higher purpose so that something greater may enter. When something leaves your life, it is because grace has already prepared something far better. To persist in faith when the outer world screams impossible, that is true mastery. That is the moment heaven bends to your conviction. When you refuse to give up, when you continue to believe even with tears in your eyes, you are demonstrating divine trust. And trust moves mountains, unseen by human strength. Rest now in this truth. God is making everything work in your favor. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour, all of it is serving your awakening. The hand of the divine is upon you, guiding you to the exact place you are meant to stand. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle unfolding. The love that dreamed you into existence is still dreaming through you. So do not lose heart. What you seek is already seeking you. The moment you stop chasing and begin resting in the assurance of its fulfillment, it begins to appear. Hold your vision. Guard your faith. Let gratitude be your proof that you already have it. For in the unseen realm, it is already done, and soon the visible world will catch up to what your spirit has long known. So don't give up now. You are far closer than you think. Every heartbeat, every breath, every moment is a step toward your answered prayer. The divine timing is perfect. Trust it. Believe it. Rest in it. Because God is making everything work in your favor, even now. What you call delay is not denial. It is divine rearrangement. Every moment of waiting, every apparent pause, every seeming setback is part of a grand design you cannot yet see. The divine plan is already in motion, working through people, places, and events to bring forth the exact fulfillment of what has already been conceived within you. The moment you desired something deeply and sincerely, that moment creation began. The seed was planted in the unseen, and from that instant, the universe began to move in your favor. You may not see movement with your eyes, but that does not mean nothing is happening. Just as a seed beneath the soil seems dormant before it bursts through the surface, your desire is quietly germinating in the invisible field of consciousness. The universe does not operate in chaos, it operates in divine order. What seems like silence is preparation. What feels like stagnation is alignment. The delay is often God's way of ensuring that every piece is in its perfect place before the vision manifests into form. Too often we confuse divine timing with human impatience. We look at our current situation and assume nothing is changing. But behind the curtain of time, forces are rearranging. People are being inspired to take certain actions, opportunities are being shaped, and circumstances are shifting, all without your awareness. Just because you cannot trace the path does not mean the path isn't being cleared. The divine plan is meticulous. It wastes nothing and misses no detail. Every moment serves the next. Every experience, even the painful ones, plays a part in your unfolding. When you surrender the need to control the how and when, you allow the divine intelligence to operate freely. Your role is not to force the manifestation, but to stay faithful to the inner knowing that it is already done. The universe responds to your state of being, not your worry or doubt. Faith is the signal that keeps the plan active. The more you trust that everything is unfolding in divine order, the faster alignment can occur. Not because God moves faster, but because your resistance dissolves. Imagine the universe as a great orchestra. Each event, each person, each moment is an instrument contributing to the symphony of your destiny. If one instrument comes in too soon, the harmony is broken. So sometimes the divine waits until the perfect note, the perfect timing, to bring your desire into view. You must trust the conductor. He sees the full score. You only see a single page. There is no need to strive, no need to fear that you've missed your moment. The plan cannot fail because it is written by perfection itself. What is meant for you is already yours in consciousness, and the outer world is simply catching up. So rest in assurance. Even when you cannot see it, the divine plan is alive, precise, and moving. Everything is silently aligning to fulfill the desire already planted within you. It was promised in spirit, and what is promised in spirit must come to pass in form. The very thing you long for is not separate from God's will. It is His whisper within you, calling you toward a higher expression of life. Desire is not a random wish or a fleeting thought. It is the pulse of divine intention, the language through which God speaks to the soul. Every authentic desire that arises from love, growth, and truth is born from the heart of the infinite. When you feel drawn to something greater, it is not merely your human mind dreaming, it is the divine essence within you seeking to unfold itself in new form. God does not give you a desire to mock you or to withhold it from you. The moment a desire is conceived in your heart, the path to its fulfillment is also set in motion. You could not even imagine something that was not already possible for you. The very act of longing proves its existence somewhere in the unseen. What you truly desire, desires you in return. This is the sacred dance between creator and creation. an exchange of divine energy seeking realization through your awareness. When you imagine your desire fulfilled, you are participating in God's creative process. Your imagination is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the place where divine intention becomes personal realization. To imagine is to align yourself with the will of God, for He expresses Himself through the images and feelings that arise in the stillness of your being. The more vividly you feel your wish already accomplished, the more powerfully you unite with the divine current that makes it real. Faith, then, is not begging God to act, but recognizing that God is already acting through your desire. To have faith is to rest in the knowing that your longing is sacred, that it carries divine authority. The desire itself is evidence of its fulfillment. Just as a seed contains within it the pattern of the tree, your desire holds the blueprint of its own manifestation. You do not need to figure out how it will happen. The life within the desire knows the way. Many people separate their dreams from their spirituality, thinking that wanting more love, more freedom, more joy is somehow selfish. Yet this could not be further from the truth. The expansion of your life is the expansion of God in expression. When you fulfill your desires, when you live in alignment with joy and faith, you glorify the very source that created you. God's greatest wish is to see Himself reflected through your happiness, abundance, and peace. So never suppress your true desires. Listen to them, honor them. They are not signs of lack, they are signals of purpose. Each desire is an invitation from the divine saying, "Come higher, see what I can do through you." When you embrace that truth, you stop chasing and start allowing. You no longer question whether you are worthy, because you understand that the desire itself is proof of your worthiness. It is not separate from God's will. It is His will, seeking expression through your imagination and faith. What you see with your physical eyes is not the full story of life. The visible world is only the shadow cast by an invisible cause. Every circumstance, every event, every condition in your outer world is a reflection of what has already been accepted within your consciousness. The invisible realm of thought, emotion, and belief is the true birthplace of reality. It is there that creation begins. What you hold as true in your inner world eventually crystallizes into form. You may look at your current life and think it is all that exists. But what you see is only the residue of past thinking. The present moment, the physical world before you, is yesterday's imagination brought to life. Just as a mirror only reflects what stands before it, the world only reflects the state of consciousness you are presently dwelling in. To change what you see, you must first change what you believe. Trying to alter the reflection without transforming the cause is futile. The invisible must shift before the visible can respond. Faith is the ability to see beyond the evidence of the senses. It is the inner conviction that something exists even when there is no sign of it yet. The unseen is not empty space. It is filled with potential, waiting for the direction of your belief. Every thought you persist in becomes a mold through which the invisible substance of life flows. Whether you hold an image of fear or of faith, the universe takes it as instruction. It does not choose. It only reflects. To live by sight alone is to live reactively. You become bound by appearances, moving from hope to despair based on what your eyes can see. But to live by inner vision is to live creatively, to know that the invisible reality of imagination is more real, more powerful, and more enduring than any temporary condition. The wise person looks not at what is, but at what can be. They hold firmly to their inner vision until the outer world reshapes itself to match. The unseen governs the seen. You cannot see the roots of a tree, yet they sustain its life. You cannot see the wind, yet you see its effects on every leaf. So it is with belief. Invisible, yet undeniably powerful. Your consciousness is the root system of your life. Nurture it with faith, gratitude, and expectancy, and your outer world will blossom accordingly. Never be deceived by appearances. When things seem still or uncertain, know that the invisible world is active, organizing and rearranging the details for your good. The unseen is the eternal, the seen is the temporary. The invisible is the cause, the visible is the effect. When you learn to trust the unseen more than what appears before you, you move from limitation to freedom. Reality is not shaped by what you see, but by what you believe. And what you truly believe in the invisible, you will one day see made visible. Persistence is the language of faith. It is the unwavering commitment to remain rooted in your inner knowing, even when the outer world shows you every reason to doubt. To persist is to stand firm in the unseen truth, refusing to be swayed by appearances. It is the quiet courage to believe that all things are working for your good, even when life seems to tell a different story. Faith is not proven in moments of ease. It is revealed in the moments when everything looks impossible, yet you still choose to believe. When you persist in faith, you align yourself with divine power. You declare, not through words but through your state of being, that you trust the unseen intelligence guiding your life. This persistence is not stubbornness or resistance, it is spiritual endurance. It is the gentle, steady assurance that no matter how the outer picture looks, the inner reality of your desire is already complete. The longer you hold that assumption, the more power it gains. Every moment of persistence deepens your union with the divine plan. The world is constantly trying to convince you to give up, to accept failure, limitation, and lack as permanent. But every time you choose to remain faithful to your inner vision, you rise above appearances. You take your attention away from what is fading and place it upon what is eternal. The unseen reality begins to respond to your persistence, just as the soil responds to the seed that refuses to die. The farmer does not dig up the seed to check if it is growing. He trusts the process. So must you. True persistence is not about effort or struggle. It is about inner steadiness, the calm assurance that what you have imagined is already yours in spirit. When doubts arise, persistence answers with silence, knowing that truth does not need to argue. When circumstances contradict your desire, persistence simply looks beyond them, holding fast to the end already seen within. This quiet strength draws divine energy into motion. Every act of persistence purifies your faith. It burns away impatience, fear, and insecurity, leaving only certainty. And when certainty becomes your natural state, manifestation becomes inevitable. The outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your unwavering belief. What you assume to be true and persist in, as though it were already done, must eventually become visible. This is divine law. So do not let temporary appearances deceive you. The moment you decide to stand firm in faith, the invisible forces begin their work. Things may seem to fall apart, but in truth, they are falling into divine alignment. Hold your ground. Feel the reality of your desire as though it were already complete. refuse to surrender to doubt. Every second of persistence strengthens the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Remember, persistence is not a test of your strength. It is the expression of your trust. It is your soul's way of saying, I know the truth even when I cannot yet see it. And when you speak that language fluently, the universe cannot help but respond. For persistence is the voice through which faith commands creation. Every challenge you face carries within it a hidden blessing. Though the mind may see difficulty, loss, or resistance, the soul recognizes transformation. Life does not bring obstacles to punish you, it brings them to prepare you. Each challenge is a divine instrument, shaping you into the person capable of receiving what you have asked for. The very moment you prayed for growth, strength, or abundance, the process of refinement began. The old conditions, habits, and limitations had to dissolve so that something new could be born through you. When transformation begins, it often appears as disruption. Things fall apart, plans fail, and the familiar becomes uncomfortable. Yet this is not destruction, it is divine rearrangement. The structures that once supported your old state of consciousness can no longer sustain the new vibration you are stepping into. The obstacle is not blocking your path, it is your path. It is the necessary pressure that cracks open the shell of limitation and reveals the greater life waiting within. Imagine a seed buried in the darkness of soil. To the seed, the weight above it might feel oppressive, suffocating, and unjust. But that very pressure is what causes it to break open and release its potential. Without that tension, it would never rise toward the light. So too with your challenges. They are the soil from which your next level will emerge. If you resist them, you resist your own expansion. If you embrace them, you accelerate your awakening. When difficulties arise, ask not, why is this happening to me, but rather, what is this teaching me? What strength, faith, or wisdom is being called forth within me? Every trial contains within it the seed of equal or greater good. Life is never subtracting from you. It is clearing space for something higher to enter. You may not understand it in the moment, but when the dust settles, you will see how perfectly every piece fit together. Challenges also serve another sacred purpose. They reveal your true power. It is easy to believe in divine order when life flows smoothly, but faith becomes real when you can stand in peace while the storm rages around you. Each obstacle invites you to choose faith over fear, trust over doubt, vision over sight. As you respond with patience and inner certainty, you rise in consciousness, and from that higher state, the problem resolves itself. The universe never takes without giving. What you lose through challenge is only the illusion of control or the weight of old patterns that no longer serve you. What you gain is clarity, resilience, and a deeper connection with the divine flow of life. The moment you stop fighting your challenges and begin to see them as sacred assignments, everything shifts. So bless the obstacles. Welcome them as messengers of change. For every challenge that appears in your path is a silent blessing in disguise, guiding you toward the greater expression of who you truly are. The old must dissolve, yes, but only so that the new, the beautiful, and the divine can finally emerge. You are not walking this path alone. There is a higher intelligence, a loving presence guiding your every step, even when you cannot see it, even when you cannot feel it. The divine hand moves through you, through others and through every circumstance of your life to bring forth exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. There are no accidents, no coincidences, no wasted moments. Everything that enters your experience is part of a greater orchestration designed for your awakening. When you begin to trust this truth, peace replaces anxiety. You stop struggling to control every detail and start resting in the knowing that life is for you, never against you. Every encounter, every delay, every detour is a divine arrangement leading you toward the fulfillment of what your heart already knows is yours. What may seem like a setback is often a redirection. What looks like loss may be protection. The universe, in its perfect wisdom, will close doors that are too small for your destiny so that you can walk through the ones that fit the magnitude of your purpose. You are guided through intuition, through gentle impulses and inner nudges that seem to arise from nowhere. That quiet feeling that says, wait, go, or trust is not random thought. It is divine communication. The more you listen, the clearer it becomes. Guidance does not always arrive as a loud command. More often, it is a whisper in the silence of your heart. The key is stillness. When you are calm, when your mind is not cluttered with fear or doubt, you begin to hear the direction that has always been there. There is a current flowing through your life, a current of divine order. When you resist it, you feel tension, frustration, and confusion. But when you surrender to it, life becomes effortless. Things begin to fall into place without struggle. People show up at the right time. Opportunities appear when you least expect them. What once felt difficult now unfolds with ease. This is not luck. This is alignment. When you trust that you are guided, you move in harmony with the flow of creation itself. Even in moments of silence, when you feel lost or abandoned, the guidance has not stopped. Sometimes the divine withdraws outer signs so that you may strengthen your inner sight. The absence of clear direction is not punishment, it is preparation. It teaches you to rely on your inner compass, the quiet assurance that you are exactly where you need to be. So rest in the knowing that you are guided. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to take the next step with faith, knowing that unseen hands are leading the way. Every breath, every moment, every movement is watched over by a presence that loves you beyond measure. Trust it, walk in peace, for the divine is not somewhere outside of you. It moves through you as you, guiding you perfectly toward your highest good. Act in the knowing that what you are is what you are. Everything you have ever desired, every dream that has stirred within your heart is not separate from the divine will. It is part of it. The hand of God has been guiding you all along, even through the moments you mistook for delay, struggle, or silence. Every challenge has been shaping you, every obstacle refining you, and every waiting season preparing you for what is already yours in spirit. The invisible has always been working on your behalf, aligning circumstances, people, and timing in perfect harmony with your faith. This journey is not about forcing life to move faster, but about learning to trust the sacred rhythm of divine timing. What you call uncertainty, heaven calls unfolding. And as you persist in your inner knowing, holding firm to the belief that all things are working for your good, life begins to mirror that conviction. The old dissolves, the new emerges, and what was once unseen becomes your lived reality. So rest now in peace. You are not forgotten, not behind, and never without guidance. The divine plan is alive within you, and it cannot fail. Continue to walk in faith even when the path is unclear. Continue to believe even when evidence is scarce. Continue to persist, for the promise is already fulfilled in the unseen. You are the vessel of God's creative power. The same life that formed the stars flows through you, shaping the world according to your belief. Trust this truth and let gratitude fill your heart. For even now, God is making everything work in your favor. Thank you for listening. May you walk in faith, rest in peace, and remember, you are never alone, for the divine hand moves through you and for you always. You were never meant to struggle for what is already yours. The truth is simple, but the world has made it complicated. They have taught you to chase, to beg, to wait. But reality is not built from effort, it is built from assumption. You do not need to become a better version of yourself to manifest what you desire. You only need to change the position from which you think. That which you desire already exists. The moment you became aware of it, it was born. But you see, most people approach this backwards. They try to manifest from a place of emptiness, from lack, from noticing that what they want is not yet here. So they push. They visualize with tension. They affirm with fear. They work with one eye on the clock, wondering when the world will finally change. That is not creation, that is resistance. Manifestation is not something you do. It is something you allow. It is something you assume. It is the silent knowing that what you imagine with feeling must come to pass. To imagine is to plant. To feel it real is to water the seed. And to rest in faith is to let the harvest come. Your senses may scream that nothing is happening, but the unseen world always moves before the seen. You must dare to see differently. Close your eyes and forget the facts. Forget what the world has told you. Go within and see the scene clearly. See yourself already in possession of it. Don't try to get it. Don't hope. Don't wish. Become. Feel the joy of it. Feel the relief. Walk in it. Live from it. Let the inner scene be more vivid than the outer one. You're not doing it wrong because you're unworthy. You're doing it wrong because you think you need to earn what already belongs to you. You don't climb a mountain to manifest. You step into the state of the wish fulfilled. And from that state, the world will rearrange. People, events, timing, circumstances, they will move without your effort. Let go out of the trying. Rest in the knowing. Manifesting is not hard. Your approach is just wrong. Shift it, and everything changes. You are always manifesting, whether you know it or not. This is not a practice you occasionally engage in, nor is it something reserved for certain rituals or special times of focus. Manifestation is not an activity. It is the very nature of your being. It is the continuous outpicturing of your inner world. The life you are living right now, this very moment, is the result of what you have accepted to be true, consciously or unconsciously. Every thought you consistently dwell upon, every emotion you entertain, every belief you silently carry, they all shape the form your life takes. You cannot turn it off. Just as a fire gives off heat, your consciousness gives off form. So many believe that manifesting is something they must learn how to do. They read books, they follow steps, they repeat words. And while these things can be helpful, they miss the most vital truth. You are already doing it. The only question is, what are you manifesting? There is no pause in this process. Life mirrors back to you not what you want, but what you assume, what you expect, and most powerfully, what you accept without question. You can only receive from life what you are in harmony with internally. And this harmony is not something you force through effort. It is something you allow by the direction of your attention. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Where your imagination dwells, the world follows. The truth is, every moment of your day is a declaration of your inner state. When you look at your bank account and feel worry, you are not observing reality, you are recreating it. When you look in a mirror and feel unworthy, you are not simply having a thought. You are sealing a command into your subconscious, and that command must be fulfilled. When you assume that people don't see your value, that love is hard to find, that success is reserved for others, those are not idle opinions. They are seeds, and they bear fruit. This is not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Because if your life is not where you want it to be, it is not because you are unlucky, it is not because you are cursed, it is not because your past is too heavy, it is because in some area of your life, you have been misusing your power unconsciously. The most beautiful part of this truth is that once you become aware, you can begin to choose differently. You can begin to plant new seeds. You are never stuck. You are never at the mercy of the world. The world is responding to you. Your outer world is simply a canvas painted by your inner state. Change that, and the picture must change. Not through effort, not through struggle, through alignment. The world wants you to believe that circumstances create your state. But the reverse is true. Your state creates your circumstances. You have seen it before. When you feel confident, things open up. When you feel loved, people are drawn to you. When you feel abundant, opportunities flow. This is not coincidence. This is the law. So, you must become aware of what you are broadcasting. Watch your thoughts. Not to fear them, but to understand your patterns. Notice the stories you tell yourself. Are they stories of power or of limitation? Do they affirm your wholeness, or do they keep you bound to the past? Begin to choose differently, not by force, but by intention. Rest in the awareness that you are the operant power. You are the author, not the victim. You are not here to chase what you want, you are here to embody it. And once embodied, it must come, not because you forced it, but because that is how reality works. You are always manifesting. Now it's time to do it on purpose. Desire is not something to be doubted, questioned, or suppressed. It is not a mistake, nor is it a product of your imagination running wild. Desire is a divine signal, a whisper from within that reveals to you what already exists for you in the unseen. The presence of the desire itself is evidence of its reality. You would not long for something that wasn't already yours in potential. The very fact that it appeared in your heart means it is within your reach. You are not chasing fantasies. You are being guided toward fulfillment. Most people have been taught to look at their desires with suspicion. They are told to be realistic, to manage expectations, to not get their hopes up. But what they do not realize is that in pushing away their desires, they are pushing away the very thing that would complete their joy. You do not receive desires from nowhere. They are not random. They are the soul's recognition of a future reality trying to reach you. They are not meant to torment you. They are meant to guide you back to who you truly are. When you feel a true desire, a pull, a longing, a vision that will not leave you, it is not something to be dismissed. It is something to be honored. That desire is life itself moving through you, asking you to awaken to your creative power. You may not know how it will come. You may not see the path, but the path is not your concern. The desire is the signpost, not the destination. Your only task is to accept it, to assume it as already yours, to dwell in the feeling that it is done. The moment you felt the longing, the bridge began to build. It is not about waiting for something outside to change. It is about changing your inner stance, your assumptions, your expectations, your reactions. When you can feel the desire as already fulfilled, when you can claim it mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, the world has no choice but to reflect it. You are not here to hope for your desires. You are here to embody them. The world may not see it yet. Your senses may deny it. But that is irrelevant. Reality always catches up with conviction. What you believe and feel on the inside will materialize on the outside. That is the law. You were never meant to beg for what you want. You were never meant to plead with life or try to convince the world of your worthiness. You were meant to know, to rest in the quiet confidence that what you desire is already yours by right of consciousness. When you stop treating your desire like a distant dream and begin treating it like a present truth, everything changes. You move differently. You speak differently. You no longer ask if it's possible. You begin to expect its arrival. And that expectancy is the magnet. That expectancy is what rearranges circumstances, people, and events to bring it to you. You do not need to earn your desires. You do not need to prove that you are ready. You only need to accept them as already real. Let go of the how. Let go of the when. These are distractions. Stay with the what. Stay with the feeling. Let the desire live in you fully. Let it be a place you return to in imagination until it becomes your natural dwelling. And from that place, you will see life shift. Desire is sacred. It is the proof of what is already written for you in the invisible. It is not a cruel illusion. It is your inner self pointing toward what you are capable of receiving. If you trust it, if you honor it, and if you believe in its fulfillment, it will come. Not through striving, not through waiting, but through alignment. The desire is the invitation. Your belief is the key. The moment you felt it, it was already yours. Effort and struggle are resistance in disguise. They come dressed as determination, as discipline, as the necessary grind. But beneath them lies a belief that you do not yet have what you seek, that it is separate from you, that it must be earned, chased, or forced into your life. And so many fall into this trap, thinking that the more they do, the harder they work, the faster they move, the closer they'll get. But manifestation does not respond to strain. It responds to inner conviction. It responds to the one who knows that what they desire is already theirs. Trying too hard affirms the very thing you are trying to escape, lack. When you strive with desperation, you are declaring through your actions, I don't have it. Your energy becomes a signal of separation, not of possession. And the universe, ever faithful to reflect your inner state, must echo back the reality of not having. You delay the very thing you want because you are focused on the absence of it. You do not fight for what is already yours, you assume it. You claim it in silence. You wear it in your thoughts. You feel it in your being. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is certain. Like breathing, like the rising of the sun, you rest in the knowing. That is true manifestation. It's not about effort. It's about alignment. It's about tuning your inner world to the frequency of already having. When a person knows they are loved, they don't constantly seek proof. They move with confidence. When someone knows they are successful, they don't have to proclaim it to everyone they meet. They carry a quiet power. And when you know your desire is already fulfilled, you stop trying to make it happen. You begin to live from it, not chase it. The mistake most make is in thinking manifestation is about action, about doing more, pushing harder, moving faster. But action without belief is empty. It is noise. True manifestation begins in the mind. It begins in the feeling. Until you can dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your outer actions are just movements. They are not creation. Let this truth sink in. The state of having must come before the evidence of having. That means you must enter the feeling of abundance before the money arrives. You must embody love before the partner appears. You must dwell in the sense of success before the results show up. This is not fantasy. It is the law of consciousness. The outer mirrors the inner, not the other way around. So when you find yourself exhausted, when you're pushing and forcing and nothing is working, stop. That struggle is not progress, it is resistance. It is a signal that you are out of alignment. Come back to stillness. Come back to the assumption that what you want is already yours. Ask yourself, how would I feel right now if I had it? How would I walk, speak, think, move? Then do that. You must understand, manifestation is not about pulling something in from the outside. It is about awakening what is already within. The wealth, the love, the peace, it all begins inside you. And when you match that internal frequency, the world adjusts to meet it. This is the secret. Not to try harder, but to let go. To relax into the truth of your power. To stop begging and start becoming. You are not meant to struggle for your desires. You are meant to rest in them. The oak tree does not strain to grow. The stars do not force their light to shine. They are what they are. And when you stop resisting, when you stop believing it has to be hard, you will see how naturally the things you want begin to appear, not because you fought for them, but because you finally stopped standing in your own way. Imagination is the only creative force in reality. Everything that has ever been brought into the visible world began first as a thought, a vision, a quiet whisper in the unseen realm of imagination. This is not poetic. It is law. The chair you sit on, the home you live in, the career you walk through, all of it existed first in someone's mind. Imagination is the womb of creation. And what you see within, you will see without. The outer world is not random. It is a delayed mirror, reflecting the state of your inner world. Most people walk through life as if the external world is cause and their inner world is effect. They believe circumstances dictate feelings, that reality shapes thought. But it is the other way around. The inner man, the inner you, is the origin of all that is seen. It is not the job that brings you security. It is your inner sense of security that brings the job. It is not love appearing that makes you feel worthy. It is the feeling of worthiness that attracts love. This is how the game is played. The imagination is not just daydreaming. It is not a childish fantasy. It is divine. It is sacred. It is the place where your world is born. What you allow yourself to feel and accept in imagination becomes the blueprint from which your physical world is built. If you dwell in thoughts of fear, of failure, of unworthiness, life has no choice but to reflect those images. But if you dare to dwell in joy, in abundance, in peace, even when your senses say otherwise, you are shifting the foundation of your reality. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to imagine something better. Use your inner vision as the command. When you close your eyes and see yourself living the life you desire, you are not pretending, you are creating. That scene you see in your mind, that feeling that rises in your chest, that certainty you touch for just a moment, that is more real than anything the senses can show you. The senses only report the past, but imagination creates the future. When you persist in an imagined scene, when you return to it over and over again, not with desperation, but with confidence, you begin to impress it upon your subconscious mind. And the subconscious, being the servant it is, begins to move people, events, and circumstances to match that vision. You do not have to force it. You do not have to know how. The how is not your job. Your job is to see it, to feel it, to assume it, and the rest unfold. The outer world always lags behind the inner world. It is not instant, but it is inevitable. A seed planted does not bloom the same day, but the bloom is already contained in the seed. So it is with your imagination. That inner scene you saw, of peace, of love, of wealth, is already planted. The question is, will you nurture it? Will you persist in it? Will you live in the assumption that it is already true? You do not need to tell others what you are imagining. You do not need to seek their validation. This is a private, sacred journey. What you dare to accept in imagination will appear in time. And when it does, it will feel natural, inevitable, as if it could not have happened any other way. Because in truth, it was always happening. The moment you imagined it, it began. Imagination is the key to all transformation. Change the concept of yourself and the world must change around you. See yourself differently and life bends to meet that version. Do not fight the outer. Ignore it if it contradicts your vision. Turn inward. That is where the power is. What you see in imagination, what you truly accept as real, you will see in the world. Not because you forced it, but because you believed it. That is creation. That is reality. Motion charges the scene. Feel it real. You must understand, it is not enough to simply see something in the mind's eye. To imagine a better life, a new version of self, or a different outcome, without feeling is like drawing without ink. It carries no power, no movement. The secret lies in the emotion you bring to the scene, the energy with which you enter it. For it is feeling, not thought alone, that impresses the subconscious mind and turns imagination into experience. When you imagine, you are not merely playing with images. You are speaking the language of creation. But the subconscious does not respond to empty words. It does not respond to logic or willpower. It responds to feeling. That deep inner knowing, that rich, invisible sensation that something is already true. You must feel it real. Not because you are trying to force the world to change, but because you are aligning with a version of yourself where it already has changed. Imagine for a moment a scene where your desire is already fulfilled. You are not hoping it will happen. You are living it. You are standing in the room or walking through the place or holding the hand of the person you've longed for. What do you feel in that moment? What does your body say? What does your heart whisper? That feeling, that inner movement is the key. The feeling brings it to life. Emotion gives the scene weight. It gives it depth. You're no longer an observer. You are now a participant. You're no longer watching the scene. You are in it, breathing its air, carrying its joy. And that's when the subconscious receives it as truth. Not as a wish, not as a fantasy, but as something real. And because the subconscious knows no difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined with feeling, it sets in motion the unseen mechanics of manifestation. You must dwell in the mood of the wish fulfilled, not once, not twice, but consistently. Belief is built through repetition of that inner feeling. When you return to it night after night or in quiet moments of the day, you are reconditioning your inner world. You are rewriting the story you've told about yourself. And eventually you no longer need to convince yourself. It becomes natural. The assumption settles. You begin to live from it. And that is when the world must reflect it. It cannot do otherwise. The world is a mirror, not a master. It does not dictate, you do. That you must speak in its language. And that language is feeling, not frantic emotion, not desperation, but deep, calm, powerful inner knowing. A trust that says, this is mine. Even when the outer contradicts, even when the evidence is not yet visible, you feel it real, because you know the outer is just a shadow of the inner. This is not pretending. This is not self-delusion. It is alignment. You are choosing to live from the truth of your desire instead of the illusion of its absence. You are stepping into the version of you who already has, already is, already knows. And the longer you live in that feeling, the more it becomes your home. The more naturally you speak from it, walk in it, and make decisions from it. Motion is the fire. It is the current that moves the vision from mind to matter. So let the scene stir something in you. Let it bring you peace, or joy, or satisfaction. Whatever would be natural in that fulfilled state. And hold it. Not with effort, but with presence. Let it soak into your being. Because once the feeling takes root, the world has no choice. It must rearrange itself to reflect that inner truth. That is the law, and that is the power you've always had. Not to struggle for change, but to feel it into existence. You must move mentally, not physically. The mistake most make is to believe that action alone changes life. That if they push harder, run faster, work longer, they can force life into submission. But the true shift never begins with action. It begins in the mind. All transformation, all elevation, all true manifestation starts not with physical effort, but with mental movement. You must go there in consciousness before your feet ever touch the ground. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen or when it will unfold. Instead, focus on the most important step, the internal shift. The moment you begin to think from the place where your desire is fulfilled, you set the wheels of creation into motion. It is not about thinking of the desire. That leaves it distant, separate, out of reach. You must think from the place where it is already so. That is the secret. That is the shift. To walk mentally in the scene where your desire is already yours is to align with the reality you wish to live. If you desire wealth, do not merely wish for it. Mentally move into the state of the one who already has it. How do they walk? How do they speak? What decisions do they make? What worries no longer burden them? Begin to think from that identity, and the world will conform. It may not happen instantly, for the world of matter is slow, but it is obedient. It must take the shape of your sustained inner assumption. When you persist in mentally living from the place of your fulfilled desire, the outer world becomes compelled to catch up. Circumstances bend, people align, events unfold, not because you forced them, but because you shifted your position in consciousness. This movement is silent, invisible. No one sees it happening, but within you feel it. Something clicks. Something changes. You are no longer chasing, you are dwelling. You no longer ask if it will come, you assume it already has. That shift in attitude is power. That shift is creation. You may be standing in the same room, speaking to the same people, working the same job, but internally you are in a new place. You have moved. And because you have moved mentally, you will soon move physically. Not through force, but through alignment, the right opportunities, the right timing, the right doors. These will appear naturally, almost effortlessly, because you are no longer resisting your own vision. Many struggle because they act without alignment. They try to rearrange the outside while carrying the same beliefs, the same fears, the same old story within, and nothing changes. But when you change your inner position, when you assume the state of the fulfilled desire, your action becomes inspired, guided, and effective. You no longer act to get, you act because you already are, and that makes all the difference. This is not about pretending. It is not about fooling yourself. It is about choosing where you dwell mentally. Every day, every moment, you are occupying a state. You are thinking from somewhere. Make sure that place is aligned with what you want, not with what you fear, because the state you occupy, whether by habit or by choice, determines the life you live. So move, but move in the mind first. Move in imagination. Walk the halls of the home you desire. Hear the voice of the love you already have. Feel the weight of success resting comfortably on your shoulders. Let that be your dwelling place. Let that be your new address. And persist there, for the outer world is not your master. It is your mirror. It does not lead. It follows. So lead it with your inner world. Think from the end, and the end will come. Move mentally, and the physical world will rise to meet you. Always. In conclusion, the power to transform your life lies not in the external actions you take, but in the internal shifts you make. The world you experience is merely a reflection of your inner world, and your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions shape that world more than any physical effort could. When you move mentally, when you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you align with the natural flow of creation, and the outer world must adjust accordingly. Remember, manifestation is not about struggle or striving. It is about assuming, feeling, and living from the reality you desire. The key is to think from the place of fulfillment, to feel it real, and to persist in that assumption until it becomes your natural state. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and may you embrace the power within you to create the life you desire. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of the world outside of you. The world outside is only a shadow, a reflection of the world within. Many ask, can I manifest a home, love, health, and wealth all at once? And the answer is not only yes, it is how creation was always meant to work. You are not meant to manifest one thing at a time, like someone begging from a reluctant universe. No, you are the dreamer in the dream, and the dream responds to your command. To manifest many things at once, you must begin where all things begin, in your imagination. See yourself already living in the end. Not just one end, but all ends. You are not limited to one room in a mansion. You own the entire estate. Walk through every room. Feel the warmth of love, the freedom of abundance, the radiance of perfect health, the peace of purpose. You do not need to worry about how. You do not need to see the staircase. You only need to stand in the feeling of the fulfilled desire. And stand there, not once, but every time doubt not. Desires are not separate. They are threads in the same divine fabric. When you change the pattern within, the whole fabric reflects that new image. One consciousness, one state, many blessings. Your job is not to hustle, force, or chase. Your job is to accept that all things are already yours. The version of you who has it all already exists. The more you identify with that version, the more the outer world must conform. Let go of the need to obsess. Let go of timing. Plant the seed of fulfilled desire in the garden of your imagination, and then let the invisible forces water it with faith. Hold the vision. Feel it real. Rest in knowing, because when you do, all things will come at once, not by effort, not by chance, but because you believed and refused to let go. All that you see, all that you touch, all that you experience in this world is not the cause, it is the effect. The true cause lies in a realm the physical senses cannot grasp. It is not in the movement of the world, nor in the actions of others, nor in chance or fate. The cause lies in the unseen world of imagination. What you imagine, you give life to. What you feel as real, you call into being. The imagination is not a child's plaything. It is not idle daydreaming. It is the sacred power of creation itself. If you wish to manifest multiple things at once, begin by understanding this. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible. It is already formed, already whole, already yours, waiting only for your recognition. The imagination is not a place to escape to. It is the place you create from. It is the seedbed of your reality. Just as a tree once lived as a seed, your future lives within your inner vision. You do not manifest by trying harder. You manifest by accepting that what you hold in mind, with faith and feeling, must come to pass. The outer world is but a mirror. If the reflection displeases you, you do not reach out and try to adjust the mirror. You go inward and change the image within. The same is true for your desires. To manifest many things at once, you must stop believing that each desire is separate, each goal needing its own time, its own process. That is the illusion. Time itself is a creation within imagination. What you call waiting is often just not yet belief. So you wait for something that is already yours, already done, already real. If only you would dwell in its feeling. The imagination holds no limits. It does not struggle to hold 5 visions instead of 1. You can be loved, wealthy, joyful, healthy, peaceful. All in one breath, all in one moment, because all these things are merely expressions of a single truth, the state you occupy. You are not trying to get these things. You are simply becoming the person who has them. You don't chase. You assume. You don't beg. You embody. You don't hope. You know. You imagine is to be reborn. When you see yourself in your mind's eye with a clear and joyful knowing that what you see is true, you set creation in motion. Most people abandon their imaginal acts too soon. They plant the seed and then dig it up the next day, asking why nothing has grown. But when you trust in the unseen, when you hold the vision and feel it to be real, you allow the seed to take root. and you begin to live from the end, not toward it. There is no power outside of you creating your life. The power is within, and it is governed by what you accept as true. You can change your life by changing your assumption. You can manifest multiple things, not by doing more, but by imagining more completely. You do not need more effort. You need more surrender, more belief, more inner certainty that your imagination is not lying to you. It is showing you what already is. Live now as if it was so. See yourself already there. Do not visit that vision. Dwell in it. Let it be your resting place, your home. Feel the ease of already having. Walk, speak, think, and breathe as the one who has received. To live from the end is to occupy the state of fulfillment. It is not a mental exercise of wishing or hoping. It is a conscious decision to dwell in the assumption that what you desire is already done. When you attempt to manifest, most often you think in terms of someday. You visualize one goal, maybe two, and then wonder whether you're asking for too much. You measure desires against what seems realistic, what seems possible, and in doing so you cut yourself off from the infinite. But the truth is this: you are not meant to live in fragments. You are not meant to treat your desires like rations handed out by a reluctant universe. You are allowed, no, invited, to assume all things are already yours. To live from the end simultaneously means you no longer pick and choose which dream to believe in today. You no longer delay one so another might come. You stand at the finish line of all of them now. You walk through your day not as the person hoping for change, but as the one who already received it. Your love life, your finances, your health, your purpose, see them not as separate destinations, but as one complete state of being. This is the key to manifestation, the unified self. The version of you that already exists in imagination, where all desires are fulfilled, is not juggling dreams, is simply being. And you can step into that version now. You do not manifest by effort. You manifest by identity. Who are you in the unseen? Who are you when no one is watching? If you are waiting for something to change so you can feel fulfilled, you are postponing the miracle. But if you feel fulfilled first, reality bends to match that internal state. There is no conflict in imagining many things at once, because fulfillment is a singular vibration. When you feel whole, you draw all things unto yourself. Do not say, I must first fix my money before I attract love. That is a lie born of limitation. The truth is, your external world is a projection of the inner state you dwell in. When you step into the consciousness of already being loved, supported, abundant, healed, and free, the outer world will echo that belief in ways you could never predict. You do not have to fix the outer world. You do not need to manipulate people, stress over timing, or fight to prove your worth. You simply move into the state of the one who already has. You close your eyes and ask, what does it feel like to already be this version of me? And then you become it. Not temporarily, not on weekends, but fully. It may feel strange at first. The old state may try to pull you back, but if you persist, your new state will become your new identity, and from that identity all manifestations will spring. This is not about faking. It is about remembering. The version of you that already holds the fulfilled desire exists now in the invisible. You are not creating it. You are selecting it. You are choosing which state to dwell in. And from that dwelling, life must respond. Walk in the state. Mentally imagine from it. Emotionally feel it as real. Spiritually trust it with unwavering faith. Let your thoughts, words, and actions align with it. Let your inner conversations echo the truth of it. Let your reactions reflect the knowing of it. And forward. Time, as you experience it, is a construct of the mind. An agreement, a pattern, a rhythm your senses have been conditioned to accept. But the truth is far more liberating. Time is flexible, time is malleable, time is illusion. What you call later or someday is merely a version of now that you have not yet embodied. It is not separate, it is not distant. It is simply a potential that you have yet to accept as real. Everything you desire already exists, not in the future, not far off, but here, now, in the invisible. You do not wait for it to arrive. You awaken to it by belief. When you say, I'll be happy when I achieve this, you push the experience into a future that will never come, because your assumption is rooted in delay. You are postponing your blessing by making it conditional. But the secret is this: there is only ever now. And if you do not feel it now, you cannot experience it later. The mind says, I need time to get there. The truth says, there is nowhere to get. You are already it. You collapse time by assuming the result is done. You fold the future into the present by living from the end. And in doing so, you bypass the struggle, the delay, the need to earn it. You step into the vibration where it already is, and reality must conform. This is not imagination for the sake of fantasy. This is spiritual law. The outer world bends to the inner conviction. If you assume something will happen one day, you place it forever on the horizon. But if you assume it is now, and feel from that state, then it moves into your world without effort, not because you forced it, but because you claimed it. Let's say you want healing. If you see healing as a process that must take time, then your body will reflect that belief. But if you move into the consciousness of already being whole, already being well, and hold that state without wavering, then healing can happen in what seems like an instant, because time is only the servant of belief. Or perhaps you desire wealth. You think it must take years of saving, working, proving yourself, but that is the belief you've accepted, and so it becomes true for you. The moment you accept that abundance can arrive now, that opportunities can appear instantly, that your life can transform in a moment, you give permission for the miraculous. You are not building these things from scratch. You are tuning yourself into the frequency of what is already done. Think of your desires like radio stations. Each has its own frequency. You don't create the music, you tune in. You don't have to make the abundance appear. You align yourself with the version of you who already lives it. And how do you do that? By feeling, by assuming, by persistently occupying the state of the wish fulfilled. When the doubts come, and they will, return to the end. Close your eyes, inhale, see it done, feel the outcome so deeply it becomes more real than the current moment. Walk through the scene of the end again and again until you no longer desire it. You simply expect it. You know it. You feel it with such certainty that your current world begins to fade in importance. This is not madness. This is power. The world changes when you do. Life moves in response to your inner conviction. So do not dabble in your desires. Do not treat them as guests. Welcome them as your reality. Wake up each day as the version of you who has already arrived. Go to bed each night in gratitude for the life that's already yours, in the invisible. And as you remain faithful to that inner world, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. All of it. at once. Every outcome you seek is tied not to luck or external effort, but to a state of consciousness. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. Each desire you hold, whether it is for love, wealth, health, or success, is not a thing to be chased, but a state of being to be entered. And the moment you occupy that state fully, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the outer world begins to shift, not through struggle, but through reflection. States create outcomes. This is the law. A state is a mood, a mindset, a feeling, tone. It is the invisible cloak you wear, often without realizing it, and that cloak determines the way life responds to you. You may say, I want to be wealthy, but if the state you habitually live in is one of lack, fear, or doubt, then wealth cannot reach you. Not because you are undeserving, but because the door is closed from the inside. You must become the version of yourself who already possesses what you seek. That becoming does not require years. It requires decision. Let's say you desire love. The state of being loved is not found in another person. It is found in how you feel about yourself right now. You must embody the feeling of being cherished, seen, respected. And if you can do that inwardly, consistently, without needing the external validation to prove it, the world will rise to confirm your belief. The partner shows up. The connection deepens. The love appears, not as something new, but as a reflection of the state you chose. Or maybe you seek abundance. The wealthy version of you does not constantly check the balance or worry about bills. They move with ease. They feel supported by life. They expect good things. To embody that state is to begin thinking, speaking, and behaving as if abundance is natural to you. Not pretending, not lying, but aligning, deliberately stepping into the state of financial ease before any physical evidence exists. Why is this so powerful? Because consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, what you identify with, is what shapes your world. There are infinite states available to you at all times. You can move from powerlessness to power, from brokenness to healing, from lack to overflow, simply by changing the state you dwell in. The moment you shift your inner atmosphere, everything around you begins to reorganize to match it. Then you collapse the distance between desire and manifestation. You no longer wait, you welcome. You no longer hope, you know. You no longer prepare, you receive. And as you persist in this new awareness, the illusion of time dissolves. What once seemed far off begins to unfold in your present. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You no longer live in the future, you live in the fulfilled. And in that place, all things are possible, and all things are now. The outer world is not separate from the inner, it is its mirror. And when your inner world is in harmony, free of contradiction and resistance, the external must reflect that harmony back to you. You are not required to juggle your desires, balance them, or sort them out in order of importance. You only need to align within. For when your heart and mind are settled, steady, unified, and sure, you can hold multiple fulfilled desires in a single consciousness, and reality will conform. Most people believe they must focus on one thing at a time, as though desire is a task list and manifestation is a process of sequential order. But that belief itself creates limitation. In truth, the universe does not operate in lack, and neither should you. It is not overwhelmed by your desires. It does not need you to pick one thing and abandon the rest. What it requires is your wholeness, your certainty, your unwavering faith in the unseen. You can only hold what you are at peace with. So if you are divided within, if part of you believes and part of you doubts, then you weaken the current that brings your desires into form. That is why inner harmony is the key. It is not about intensity or repetition. It is about unity. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs agree, without inner war, without contradiction, then manifestation becomes effortless. Can you imagine a version of yourself who already has it all? The loving relationship, the financial abundance, the radiant health, the creative success. That version of you exists now, not as fantasy, but as potential. And you access that version not by working harder or waiting longer, but by assuming the inner attitude of already being that person. Not a future self, a present self, accepted. Imagine a peaceful lake. On the surface you may see ripples moving in different directions, but the depth of the water is still unmoved, unified. That is your consciousness when you are aligned. The ripples, your desires, can all exist as long as the depth, the belief, is steady. Do not allow worry to break that stillness. Do not let doubt enter through the cracks. When you feel yourself slipping into fear, come back to center. Remind yourself, it is already mine. Not because you forced it, but because you believed it. This is the kind of calm certainty that creates multiple outcomes at once. Harmony does not mean you must never feel doubt. It means you no longer dwell in it. You observe it, acknowledge it, and choose belief instead. You choose faith over fear. You choose alignment over resistance. And in doing so, you become a vessel that can carry many blessings without strain. This is the secret. You are not manifesting desires individually, you are manifesting a state. A state where all those desires already exist as facts. Live from that state, and the multiplicity takes care of itself. Just as one seed contains the pattern for many fruits, one assumption that it is done contains the energy for many manifestations. So cultivate inner harmony, guard it, nourish it, keep it sacred, and you will discover that the more peaceful your inner world becomes, the more abundant your outer world grows. Not by effort, not by struggle, but by natural law, as within, so without. There is a sacred rhythm to creation that cannot be hurried, nor can it be forced. To manifest with power, you must learn to persist, not with frantic energy or obsession, but with quiet loyalty to the unseen. To persist is not to chase, and it is certainly not to beg. It is to remain faithful to what you have already claimed as yours, even when the outer world gives you no sign. It is to walk in certainty while others wait for evidence. This is the heart of true manifestation. Inner consistency without outer dependence. You do not need to repeat your desire like a chant in fear that the universe has forgotten you. You do not need to look for signs in every corner, hoping that something has shifted. You only need to keep your inner world stable, anchored in the knowing that what you have imagined is already a reality, not in the future, but in the present unseen. The desperate mind looks for proof. The faithful mind knows. And what you know internally must be expressed externally, for the outer is always the shadow of the inner. If you constantly dig up the seed to see if it has taken root, you kill the very life you planted. But if you trust, if you water it with belief and nurture it with peace, then it must grow. It has no choice. That is law. Let your vision be clear, but let your spirit be at ease. There is no need to obsess. Obsession comes from fear, the fear that it might not happen, that you must do more, try harder, watch closer. But manifestation is not born from fear. It is born from rest. It is born from the calm assurance that once imagined, once felt, the thing is set in motion. A bridge of incidents begins to form, whether you can see it or not. Doors begin to open, people are moved, events are reshuffled, and all of it is guided by your inner state. You are not required to build the bridge, you are only required to cross it when it appears. And it will appear unmistakably when you are in the right place inwardly. If you are restless, anxious, or constantly needing reassurance, then you delay what is already yours. But when you feel it real, and you remain there, not for a moment, but as a new identity, then the world bends. It cannot help it. Reality is obedient to the one who believes. This is not laziness. This is spiritual precision. To rest in faith is not to give up effort, but to direct effort where it matters most, within. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you give life to it again. You feed it. You energize it. But once fed, once felt, let it go. Trust it is done. Think of it like sending a letter. Once mailed, you do not follow the postman to ensure it is delivered. You trust the system. The same is true here. Once your desire is impressed upon your subconscious, once your inner world is saturated with the knowing that it is yours, trust the system of life to deliver it. You may not know how it will happen. You do not need to. The how is never your concern. Your work is to know what and feel as if. From that, the rest follows. So persist, but persist gently. Persist with joy. Persist as one who already has, not one who still lacks. Let your inner dialogue reflect fulfillment. Let your emotions speak of peace. Let your imagination remain loyal, undisturbed by the senses. You're not waiting for the world is waiting for you to be steady, unwavering, complete. And when you are, what you seek must appear, not because you demanded it, but because you became it. When you walk into that store or open that app or mark that slip, pause. That moment is sacred. This is not gambling. This is creation. The world tells you to hope, but hope is uncertainty. What you must carry is knowing, the kind of knowing that doesn't flinch when the odds shout against you, the kind of knowing that says, it is done. Do not play as one who is waiting to receive. Play as one who already has. When you hold that ticket, feel the coolness of it in your hand, and let your mind whisper gently, this is the one. Not because of luck, but because you chose it in consciousness long before the numbers ever rolled into reality. You must understand this. The numbers are not chosen for you, they are chosen by you through your inner conviction. And that conviction must be silent, calm, unshakable. Do not keep checking. Do not talk about what if. That is the language of doubt. Instead, close your eyes tonight and sleep as the winner. Not the person hoping to win, but the one who already has. Let your body relax in the softness of wealth. Let your breath settle into certainty. Let your mind rest not in desire, but in fulfillment. You are not chasing numbers. You are tuning into a reality where the numbers already align. Hold that ticket like it's your birthright and speak over it. Thank you for choosing me. Not someday, not maybe, but now. You are imprinting the physical with the power of the invisible. And above all, don't visualize the moment of winning. That's just a door. Visualize what's on the other side. See the home, see the travel, see the ease, see the freedom, see your mother smiling, see the people you help, see the joy of walking into a room and knowing everything is taken care of. Because that is where the magic lives. So play, but don't just play the lottery. Play reality. Do not buy the ticket in hope. Buy it as one who already possesses what the world is still waiting to see. This is the secret most overlooked. Hope is passive. It waits. But knowing is active. It creates. When you act from hope, you stand outside of your desire. Admiring it is something distant, fragile, uncertain. But when you act from knowing, you become one with the thing you seek. You collapse the distance between yourself and the outcome. You become the fulfillment of the desire itself. Understand this. There is a great difference between wanting to win and knowing you have won. The former is rooted in lack. It says, I don't have. The latter is rooted in abundance. It says, it is already mine. One stems from separation, the other from union. When you walk up to purchase that ticket, your outer world may still look the same, but your inner world must already have shifted. You are no longer a person trying to become rich. You are rich, participating in the ritual of claiming what has already been assigned to you. Oh, most people buy tickets with shaky hands and hopeful hearts. They speak about luck, chance, and odds. They discuss numbers and strategies. But what they do not realize is that the real lottery happens within. It is the state of consciousness you occupy when you make the decision to play. The only number that matters is the frequency you are tuned to. Because reality, as you know it, must reflect back to you the dominant tone of your imagination. So when you choose the numbers, don't scratch the card or tap submit. Do so with quiet confidence. Do not beg, do not wonder, and above all, do not wait. The one who knows does not wait. They live as if the outcome has already been delivered. They do not obsessively check, they do not keep asking, what if? They do not allow their current bank balance to tell them who they are. No, they walk differently. They breathe differently. They treat money differently. Not recklessly, but freely, because they know it flows in like breath, and just as naturally. That you must train yourself to live in the assumption. When the desire is imagined with intensity and accepted as real, then life bends to it. This is the principle few understand. You are not drawing a lucky number. You are aligning with a version of yourself that already has it. That self already exists. It is already done. And when you dwell in that version, when you live from that place, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the physical must conform. You do not need science. You do not need proof. The world will try to convince you otherwise. It will demand evidence before it allows belief. But you must do the opposite. You must offer belief before the evidence appears. You must walk into the store and feel what it's like to have already received. Smile softly, not because of what may happen, but because of what already has. And in that quiet certainty, something shifts. Not in the ticket, but in you. The magic is not in the paper, the magic is in the state. And that state, when faithfully occupied, draws all things into form. You are not reaching forward, you are remembering backward. The moment you say, I am the winner with calm conviction, the world must rearrange itself to mirror your knowing. So do not hope. Hope belongs to those who still doubt. No, it is yours. And live from that knowing. Then watch as the outer reflects the inner. And the numbers obedient to your imagination fall into place. Before the numbers are drawn, before the world can catch up to what you already know, you must dwell in the end. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not a mental game of pretending. It is a spiritual act of creation. It is the bold declaration that what you desire already is, even if your senses insist otherwise. The world is always lagging behind your inner convictions. What you see with your eyes is simply the echo of what you believed within. So if you desire to win, you must first win in imagination. You must go there not once, not briefly, but often, with vivid emotion and sincerity. You must inhabit that version of yourself that has already received the blessing. Close your eyes and ask, how does it feel to know the numbers matched? Not just the joy in the moment of discovery, but the deep, lasting peace that comes when the burden of lack has fallen away. What would change in your breath, your walk, your posture, your choices? You see, it is not about wishing to win. Wishing is still waiting, but feeling it is real. Embracing it without evidence is the bridge. At night, when the lights are off and the mind is free from distractions, this is your sacred time. Before you fall asleep, surrender to the feeling that you are already the person who has won. Don't reach for it as if it's distant. Sink into it. Let your body relax as one who has nothing more to chase. Let your heart beat with the rhythm of abundance. Let your soul whisper, thank you, not for a future event, but for a reality already here. This is not mere visualization. Visualization is a technique. This is possession. It is not imagining the money arriving. It is being the one who already has it. The distinction is subtle but powerful. When you imagine as though it's coming, you keep it on the horizon. But when you feel it as yours now, you pull it into the present. And the present is the only place manifestation can occur. Speak not of the wind as a hope, but as a memory. It felt so simple. I always knew. Of course it happened. Use the tone of certainty. Let your inner dialogue reflect fulfillment, not lack. And don't be concerned with the outer. The numbers are just symbols, and symbols obey the one who holds the state. You might think the odds are against you, but you are not dealing with chance. You are dealing with law. The law that says, whatever you feel to be true will shape itself into form. So the numbers you dwell in the end, you give the universe its command. You say, this is who I am. And all things begin to shift. But the shift begins with you. Not with the ticket, not with the machine, not with chance, with you. With your inner world, with the assumption you carry into sleep, into conversation, into your breath. So don't wait to feel like a winner. Feel it now, assume it now, be it now. Because what you assume, you create. And when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you draw the unseen into the seen, and the magic begins. Do not obsess over how or when it will happen. The moment you plant the seed, your part is complete. The desire has been set into motion, and the rest is not yours to micromanage. You were never asked to make it happen. You were asked to believe it has already happened. That is the difference between manifesting with power and delaying it with fear. The seed grows in silence and in darkness, not by force, not by constant digging to see if it's sprouting. It grows by surrender. So it is with your desires. Once the feeling has been assumed, once the inner act has been accepted as real, your work is to let go. Let the unseen forces do what they must. Trust that it is working, even if you cannot yet see the evidence. Many delay their manifestations not because they don't want them enough, but because they want them too much. They cling, they chase, they doubt. They question whether it's working. They stare at the calendar wondering if they did enough. But this energy of desperation is not creation. It is resistance. It is trying to force the flower to bloom before it's ready. You must learn the art of detachment. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop controlling. You no longer need to beg the universe for signs. You no longer need to constantly affirm or visualize with anxiety. Instead, you rest in the confidence that it is already yours and that it is making its way to you in perfect time and perfect form. Let go of the how. The human mind will try to solve it, manipulate it, predict it. But you are not the source of the miracle. You are the recipient of it. All things are being arranged behind the curtain, far beyond what you can comprehend. Stay in your state of knowing and trust the unfolding. Let go of the when. Time is an illusion to the creative spirit. What feels like a delay is often a period of alignment. The universe is not ignoring you, it is preparing the exact path for your manifestation to arrive without obstruction. If it seems quiet, it's not empty, it's sacred. Just like the roots that spread underground before the tree breaks the surface. Letting go is not giving up. It is the highest form of faith. It says, I know it is done, and I do not need to interfere. And from that posture of surrender, the manifestation comes, not with effort, but with grace. It may arrive suddenly or softly, but it will come, because it must. Reality cannot withhold what you have already claimed in consciousness. Detach from needing to see it. Instead, feel it. Let the inner feeling be enough. Let the peace that comes from knowing replace the panic of needing. Live your life as though it's already settled. Go about your day with lightness, not waiting but enjoying, not hoping but resting. Let every action carry the quiet energy of one who already possesses what others are still reaching for. You don't have to know the mechanics. You only need to know the truth. What you accept as real in imagination, you would experience in life. So do not dig up your desire with doubt. Water it with trust. Shine the light of calm confidence upon it, and when you least expect it, when you are no longer looking, what you once desired will walk right into your world, drawn by the silent power of your surrender. So detach, not because you don't care, but because you care enough to let it come in its perfect way. And it will come, not through force, but through faith. Not through worry, but through rest. Let go. The seed has been planted, and the magic, as always, is already underway. Hold the ticket with reverence, not as a mere slip of paper, not as a random chance tossed into the wind, but as a sacred symbol. This ticket is not lifeless. It is the bridge between your inner world and outer reality. It holds within it the potential for transformation, if you dare to see beyond its appearance. Many clutch a lottery ticket in desperation, hoping it will change their lives. But hope is weak compared to belief. And belief is still a step below knowing. You must rise beyond all three. You must treat the ticket not as something that might work, but as something that has already served its purpose. When you hold it, you are not waiting for your numbers to appear. You are acknowledging the manifestation already complete in the unseen. Speak to the ticket. Yes, speak to it. Words carry vibration, and intention directs power. Speak as one who knows. You are blessed. You are the carrier of wealth. You are the doorway to my answered prayer. Don't speak in fear. Don't speak to convince yourself. Speak because your soul already recognizes the truth. This is not about magic in the traditional sense. It is about energy. Everything is energy. The ticket, your voice, your thoughts, your emotions, all are frequencies in motion. And when you bless the ticket, you tune it to the frequency of abundance. You are not changing the paper. You are impressing your consciousness upon it. You are making it fertile ground for manifestation. Hold it gently, but with confidence. As you touch it, imagine your energy transferring into it. The feeling of wealth, the joy of receiving, the calm knowing that all is well. Imbue it with love, not attachment, love. Because love does not grasp, love trusts. And trust is what makes the invisible visible. You must remember, the ticket is not the source of your wealth. It is the servant of your assumption. Do not place your power in it. Place your power within and then extend it to the ticket. It is simply the container that will carry what you have already created in imagination. Just as a letter is not the message, it simply delivers it. Most people wait until after the numbers are drawn to assign meaning. But you are not most people. You understand that creation begins in the unseen. You assign meaning now. You give thanks now. You celebrate now, because you have already received. Inwardly, the ticket is the physical echo of an inner act. The harvest of a seed once planted. As you go about your day, carry the ticket not in fear but in faith. Do not check it constantly. Do not beg it to win. That energy speaks of lack. Instead, carry it the way one carries something sacred. With stillness, with gratitude, with certainty. Whisper to it, if only in your heart, thank you. You are already fulfilled. And then release it. You have done your part. You have breathed life into it through your imagination. You have aligned your emotion, your energy, your belief. There is nothing more to chase, only to receive. The ticket is no longer paper. It is a symbol, a reflection of the unseen becoming seen, a quiet reminder that reality bends to your assumption, that wealth is not found, it is embodied. And what you embody, you draw near. So bless the ticket, not because it holds your future, but because it reflects your present assumption. And if that assumption is one of fulfilled desire, of complete trust, of deep knowing, then the ticket will simply follow the script you've already written in your heart. Let it be so. Give thanks daily, not for what might come, but for what already is. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight. Gratitude in advance is the mark of one who knows. It is not a ritual of polite manners. It is the language of receivers. When you give thanks for what has not yet appeared, you are not pretending. You are acknowledging what is already real in the invisible. You are aligning your inner world to the reality you have claimed. Gratitude is not something you use after something good happens. It is the tool by which things happen. It is a creative force, a signal to the unseen realm that you are in harmony with what you've asked for. When you feel grateful, you are not waiting, you are receiving. You are not longing, you are living in the end. So speak your thanks with conviction. Thank you for this blessing that is already mine. Say it before you see it, because waiting to see it is not faith, that is sight, and sight follows belief, never the other way around. Your world does not change because you are thankful after. It shifts when you are thankful before. Do not confuse this with forced positivity. Gratitude in advance is not about suppressing emotion. It is about elevating your awareness. It is choosing to dwell in the vibration of fullness rather than lack. Even if the bank account says otherwise, even if the world appears unchanged, you close your eyes and feel the abundance within, and you give thanks for it as though it were already in your hand. When you rise in the morning, let your first words be, "Thank you. It is done." Not out of habit, but from a deep inner knowing. You are not asking, you are receiving. You are not hoping, you are declaring. This shifts your entire state of being. And when your state is aligned with gratitude, miracles must come, not because you forced them. The mind may say, "But I haven't received anything yet." That is the trap. You have received everything already in consciousness. And consciousness is the only true substance. The physical follows, just as shadows follow form. Gratitude carves the space for that form to solidify. Feel it. See yourself walking into the life you've imagined. Hear the sounds of it. Taste the sweetness of it. Then say thank you. Not with a question mark, but with a period, because that is final. That is sure. That is the heart that has already received. Even when doubt creeps in, answer it with gratitude. When fear whispers, "What if it doesn't happen?" reply with, "Thank you, it already has." When delay appears, thank the delay for preparing something better. When the world looks silent, thank the silence for the perfection it hides. You are no longer reacting to appearances. You are creating from within. Let your thankfulness become your rhythm. Make it your atmosphere. Let every breath carry the energy of one who walks with blessings already poured out. This is not fantasy. This is alignment. And alignment is what causes mountains to move, doors to open, and destiny to rearrange itself around you. The gratitude in advance is your evidence of belief. It is the proof you trust what you cannot yet see, and that trust will never be betrayed. The universe cannot resist a grateful heart. It bends to serve it every time. So give thanks, not once, not only when it's easy, but daily, deliberately, joyfully. Give thanks like the one who already holds the winning ticket. Give thanks like the one who already lives the dream. Because in the unseen realm, you already do. And in time, the seen must follow. You were never playing the lottery to win. You were playing because you already knew. The world sees chance, but you move by inner law. You no longer hope, you know. You no longer beg, you become. Each act, from blessing the ticket to assuming the feeling to giving thanks in advance, is not superstition. It is power. It is alignment with the unseen forces that shape all things. You have shifted from waiting to receiving, from effort to embodiment, from desire to fulfillment. You live now as one who already holds the prize, not because the numbers say so, but because your imagination declared it so. You do not chase results. You rest in the truth that they are already yours. As you let go of the how, the when, and the noise, you become magnetic to the very thing you once longed for. This is not about luck. It is about consciousness. The only lottery that ever mattered was the one inside your mind. As you play, you no longer play to get. You play to express what is already done within you. The moment you assume the wish fulfilled, the moment you feel the life after the win, the moment you give thanks before it appears, that is the moment it becomes real. Thank you for choosing belief over doubt, stillness over struggle, and creation over chance. Let this knowing be your new foundation. The magic was never in the numbers. It was in you.